Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good day. I know I keep saying, sorry I'm not uploading to all of my, very few subscribers, but I'm trying to pump some videos out because I feel like it's important to stay relevant and trying to help whoever I can. So, in this video, I wanted to talk about politics and why you shouldn't put your faith in any politician or any kind of government or anything like that. First off, I just want to say my own experience from where I live and from what I've seen just on a local level. There's corruption in every city, municipality, whatever, police department, fire departments, even in the private sector, hospitals, small businesses. There's corruption everywhere here in America. You can't go anywhere and find some place that isn't where there aren't some people doing something wrong or illegal. Or maybe it is legal, but it's immoral, but the law allows them to do that kind of thing. It's like a gray area. It's kind of sad that we live in a society where there are so much gray areas where you really shouldn't be allowed to do something, but you can get away with it because it's legal, because lobbyists basically got that law passed by putting someone in office to vote for it, and then it becomes law, and then it becomes legal. Anyways, just from everything that I've seen in the last several years, I truly thought that the government in the United States would get a lot better. But it hasn't. It's gotten worse. And just so you guys know, I'm conservative in my beliefs, conservatism and conserving American values, American traditions, our rights here as citizens, conservatism, conserving something of this country that I feel is important, that we should have, that we should focus on. And basically what I've learned, which I should have learned this sooner, but we all kind of learn things at our own pace. I guess I was very optimistic in thinking that things would get better. But what I've learned is that it does not matter what party you vote for. It does not matter what side you're on or how moral or ethical you think you are by voting one way or the other. Both sides, the Democrats and the Republicans, are liars. They cheat and they steal and they emotionally manipulate Americans and people around the world to think a certain way. They always argue social issues, and this is important for this reason, and we won't allow this because this is wrong in our society and it won't be tolerated, and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff is noise to emotionally manipulate you. It's an appeal to emotion that they use to about something that you care about so deeply that they so badly want you to keep voting for them to keep them in power. Here's a good example. Ted Cruz several years ago said, we need term limits. We need term limits because people are enriching themselves in Congress and the Senate, and they're becoming millionaires from public office. And have you guys noticed he's still in office, that term limits haven't been passed? Funny how he ran on this idea that, we need to have this because it's wrong, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we'll vote for you because you believe in what we want. He doesn't actually care. He doesn't actually care. Just like the Democrats don't actually care when they say, oh, we're going to pass this law because we care about your emotions. We care about what matters to you. No, they don't. Both sides, like I said, they argue certain things to appeal to emotion to you guys, or whoever it is that gets so like wrapped up in all this political theater, because that's what it is. It's political theater. They put on a show, because when it comes to actually doing the right thing in our country, they very seldom do it. And when they do something, it doesn't really affect majority of the populace. It really doesn't. Or even some laws that you may not like, they don't really affect you at the end of the day. And that's like every president that's ever been in office. Everything that they do has affected my life very little. Like that. Like, oh, I had to pay a couple $100 more in taxes this year, or I had to pay a couple $100 less in taxes this year. Like, and I'm not a 1%er elite who has a bunch of money in the stock market, or I'm not able to manipulate my tax refunds by buying things that I don't need because my accountant says, hey, you need to buy another house or a vehicle as an expense to the business because this will save you money. That's not me. I'm a very normal person living a very normal life. But like I was saying, both sides will argue to try and make you think that they care about their side so much. But when it comes down to it, they're not being stewards of God's money and our money, in the sense that we pay taxes, that we fund all these programs and pay for all these things, all these countries, free education in other countries like Israel. We pay for all these different things that do not benefit us as a country, but they vote for it. Both sides will vote for it. And then it's funny, they'll get up and argue and they'll go, oh, well, we're going to argue and we're going to say why we need this. And the other side will say, yeah, we're going to argue against it or for it. But when it comes down to the vote, it usually passes, and it's usually about spending. And what do you know? It's just a very common trope in this country. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, the government gets bigger. All this Doge stuff that was supposed to save money, we're still climbing up and like another $1 trillion. We're almost at like $40 trillion in debt. And you really expect these people who are basically using the American dollar as a Ponzi scheme, like, to pay for everything. It's just like I mean, this is generational debt that people are going to have to pay, that my kids, your kids, and their kids, and probably even their kids are going to have to pay. Generational. Because they don't actually care. They don't want to stop spending money. Nothing has gotten cheaper since I've been a kid. Everything has gotten progressively more expensive. I'm surprised that gas is at $5 a gallon right now. It probably is in some states. Very well could be. It's high where I'm at in the Midwest, which it's like, anywhere from $3.25 to $3.50. And if you're paying for premium or diesel, you're probably paying around $4 a gallon for gas. And this video isn't for the out of touch people who are like, I don't even look at the gas pump when I go to pay. Well, some of us live paycheck to paycheck. Some of us budget and try and save as much as we can. And it's very difficult when it seems like gas is like a tax on just the everyday American. Anyways, I'm kind of getting into like just political issues in and of themselves, but I'm just saying, I'm coming back to the fact that you should not put your faith in politicians or systems. And I'm not saying don't participate, don't vote. It's your God-given right to, at least here in America, to vote if you're old enough and a citizen of the United States. It's your right. Go vote. Um, you know, but don't put your faith in the fact that your vote, or if your side wins an election or whatever, that something drastic is going to change in your life, because it's not. It's not. Um, if you keep participating in believing that these politicians and that our government actually cares about you, and I'll just say it, you're kind of brainwashed. I mean, I'm going through a lot of spiritual growth lately, and I'm learning that I can only put my faith and trust in God and in Jesus Christ. Um, I have a sense of peace about me that I've never had before in my life, and it comes from God. It doesn't come from tax laws. It doesn't come from spending bills. It doesn't come from wars happening or not happening. It doesn't come from people having a say or not having it. It really doesn't. I feel like if I had my faith in some country where they're very poor or whatever it is, I would be very content with life. And let's be honest, if I grew up in another country, that would be the only life I know. So I'm coming from this from a very kind of privileged position of living in America, where if you make $30,000, which is kind of like pretty common here in the United States, you're in the top 1% of income in the entire world, because the entire world is very poor. So I just want to put that out there. But again, don't put your faith in politicians or in governments or whatever you think is, that you can vote on, or that controls the market or whatever. Don't put your faith in any of that stuff. It's just going to leave you empty, like feeling empty at the end of the day, because eventually you're going to feel like you're being lied to, manipulated. At least maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but because that's how I have felt a lot more so in the last year and a half, that you know that they used a lot of arguments when people run for elections or whatever, or the news. The news is the worst. It's like they're just a hand of the puppet master of everything that's going on. It's just, they're the mouthpiece. They're the mouthpiece that basically just keeps people so interested in it, because people care so much. But people don't really care. I mean, if you think about it, people really do not care in the United States. Yeah, they go out and vote, but what does voting really change? What does voting ever really change in this country? Not enough to significantly impact my life, truth be told. And probably not yours either. It's just a game. Like, and I'm not really going to participate in it anymore. I'm not going to believe the lies or fall for the. It's like some dude trying to. He's like dating a girl or something. I'm just giving an example. He's like giving it a girl, and he's going to say all these things about, he's trying to woo her by whispering sweet nothings into her ear to get her to get something out of her. And then he just uses her, and then done. That's exactly what politicians do to us as Americans and around the world. It's not just here in America, it's around the world. So I just want to leave you with this message. Do not put your faith in politicians. Put your faith in Jesus Christ. Put your faith in God. Do not put your faith in worldly things, because it's just going to leave you feeling empty and chasing that feeling of, oh, well, it's going to get better. It's going to worry about your soul, your salvation. Focus on God. So that was a rant, but feel like I had to say it. And especially if you're a young person, do your research, and that's another thing I want to say. Do your research. Look into these issues. Notice your own side, whatever it is. Critique your own side. Ask questions. So, have a good day.